3, 2, 1, click. This is Date With Us, a dating sim podcast where two lover girls, me, Kanisha,
and me, Claire,
date, mate, and rate cyber sweeties because every gamer needs a little love in their saves.
We're inviting you to join us for our digital debriefs about our pixelized paramours. Whether they're in visual novels, roguelites, or funky indie darlings, we'll dish on who we're romancing and if our choices really mattered.
It doesn't matter if you're here to get love, lust, or just the bus.
You'll get to know at least one worthwhile person. Yourself.
So, light some candles,
partake in a vice of your choosing,
and we'll give you the lowdown on the games to download.
Hi, Kanisha.
Hi, Claire.
Are you ready for Date With Us?
Yes, I am.
Are you ready to feel validated?
Of course I am.
Wow, the deep, the little like in the middle of that absolutely got me.
Like, am I? I don't know.
Tell me how you really feel about my jokes, please.
They're hilarious.
Oh, all right. Okay, that's our cold open for this episode of Date With Us. We are talking about ValiDate, struggling singles in your area. But before we get into that, today's falling in love question.
Woo!
Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say and why? I can answer this first. I rehearse most telephone calls before I make them. I have anxiety, and I especially if I'm like calling to make an appointment or calling about scheduling or calling about like work related things, I will absolutely like make the list of the talking points in my head, or even sometimes on a loose post-it or whatever, and be like, okay, this is what I need out of this. This is how quickly I'd like this to go. And I always have the calendar up and
That's
ready.
Smart.
But if my friends or my mom call, I'm not like rehearsing that. But
I guess like if I'm making a call, I'm trying to think about context in which I make a call. I feel like usually no, like because I'm just like I'm either calling my mom to chat or if I'm calling my friends like to complain about something. If I'm calling Gorf, I'll say his name because that's the only person I call. If I call him to complain about something, I'm usually like ready to go.
yeah.
At work, yeah. Then I understand. Then I will like lean more into like, okay, here are my notes. Here are the things I need to walk away from this call with confirmed, and the dates that I need to say. I do rehearse more than I do phone calls because they tend to be like impulse or just like quick. I do rehearse conversations. I like write it all down. My notes app is filled with so many like drafts of big text or like conversations, and I want to know how I feel so that I can be like, hey, this is how I feel, because I'm a person, I also have anxiety, but it's very internal. So I'll just be like, actually this person's in front of me and they're saying things, so I'll just go with what they're saying. And it's like, no. I had like 5 different notes of feelings about this and I actually need to go through.
I'm experiencing this.
Like, you're just saying like, I processed enough. That's okay. So, phone calls, no. Conversations, yes.
Are you an internal processor? I'm a verbal processor. So most of my unrehearsed phone calls are me calling Laura, going, this happened and I gotta talk about it so I can figure out what I think, which like usually ends up with someone being like, well, I think this, and I'm like, well, you're wrong, or like, well, absolutely you're right. And like now 10 years of friendship, Laura knows she can usually just kind of say something and then I'll figure out how I feel.
I'm very much a verbal processor, but I fight really hard to be an internal processor because I hate the feeling of like me verbally processing, like not thinking through what I'm saying, and then I say something like that I'm not committed to or that's not phrased quite right, and then I hurt someone. Like that makes me want to cry. So I just if I have a feeling, I'm just like, we're gonna take you on on a little stroll, see how we feel in like 12 to 24 hours, and then we'll deal with it then. Which
Literally, why is that so emotionally healthy? Why are you so healthy? Can you show what the
Woo!
hell?
My therapist, my girl Sarah, ooh, she's held me down for like 5 years. I owe it to her. She's done a lot for me.
Shout out to therapy. Shout out to therapy. They're just like me for
For
real.
real.
Speaking of therapy and everyone who needs it, the entire
Oh,
cast
yeah.
of ValiDate. Uh, ValiDate is ValiDate is the Steam description is a romantic visual novel about 13 adults in Jercy City navigating new relationships and the harsh realities that come alongside them. It's made by Veritable Joy Studios, which is a Chicago-based game studio, and it typically runs about $15 on Steam and other places where you can buy your games. But with most Steam sales, I feel like I see this game go on sale somewhere between, the 10 to 40% off in these sales. Yeah, I don't know. Let's get into mechanics. We've got 4 playable characters, 30 plus routes is what it says. The remaining 9 playable okay, apparently we can play all of these people by the time. So this, we should say, is volume 1
Yes.
of 3. And I guess my understanding from the Steam page is that we will be able to play all 13 of these people by the time all 3 volumes.
So you have eventually 12 playable characters, some of whom you will have met before. And so, if you want to know more about one character as you're working through the initial 4, don't worry. You definitely will at some point. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm so excited to talk about this game. I've been trying not to text you too much. Mechanically, this game is a visual novel. They put it out there. There are, you have choices, you have multiple endings, there are some rare endings. We've got gorgeous art. I feel like you've got the typical dating sim art that's a couple poses for the characters as they're in conversation, but then we get some really great stills that come in at certain points. And then there are also, which I will say I didn't dive too deep into, but I'm definitely going to go back to this game and do more of. They have mini games as well that are sort of, you can find them in your cell phone. That there's a fishing game, and I think just from some stuff I've seen online, there's also at least one other mini game that I missed and didn't see.
I know I played the Malik rhythm game.
That's the one that I saw, and I was like, "Oh shit! There's a mini game for Malik as well."
Oh, it's kind of hard. As someone who can play expert in Rock Band, I kind of struggled. I was like, "Whoa!"
Oh man!
I will say the calibration. I don't know. For me, the calibration of the rhythm game was kind of fucked.
No!
Yeah, but it was still really fun. The songs. Oh, Claire, you have to play this mini game because it's so insane.
Okay.
Malik is a trash ass rapper. That's all I'll say. He's terrible.
Oh no!
Yeah. It's really good.
Oh god. Okay. Well, I'm gonna end up going. You can already tell this is the kind of game that there's a lot in it. The other couple of housekeeping things about this game is it's written, I think, entirely or nearly entirely by a team that are artists of color and people of color. I kind of loved that they credited each scenes writer. So as you're moving through, it was clear that they sort of deliberately chose writers who had lived experience in different backgrounds or had different knowledge about these characters from a really close perspective. I just feel like they made this game well. It was a game that they clearly cared about when they were making it, and do clearly care about the next 2 volumes, which are apparently supposed to come out in 2025. Both of the next volumes. We'll see. Because this game, for the record, came out September 28th, 2022. So folks have been waiting a while for ValiDate volumes 2 and 3. But today we're just going to be talking about volume 1. And I think between the mini games and the sort of just choosing your own path, that's what we've got for you mechanically. But now let's get into it. Let's get into the world, the lore, the characters. I think this is going to be kind of a broad thing, but we've got 4 main characters, and initially you can only choose from 2. So when Kanisha and I started playing together and then split off to continue. So as we started, there's Malik, who is every like copyrighted property gets a B replaced name. So he works at the Popeyes, and
Right.
he is a trash ass rapper, as Kanisha previously mentioned.
He is. Yes.
Father of 2, and I'm certain we'll discuss Malik more. Then there's Anaya, who is a Instaglam live stream chef.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went with Naya first, and then once you spend a little bit of time with Naya, you unlock Hari, who is like, I think academia.
Yeah, he works. He works in a school district in HR. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah, they like in the writing they kept talking about Amhari uses
Mm.
she/he pronouns. So just for the record, as we discuss to avoid confusion, but she was talking with her like kid. I started going through one of her storylines, and they were talking about like getting discounts at the zoo,
Yeah.
and I was like, wait, what is your job?
Right. I was lost for a second, but yeah. Yeah, she does HR for teachers. So she sometimes you'll see there'll be scenes where she's like different teachers that we've seen or that Amhari knows will come up and be like, "Thank you for figuring this out for me," or "Thank you." It's like pretty cute. I work tangentially in education now, so now I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Like this is what the district administrators are doing for their teachers when I'm not harassing them. That's so nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh yeah, how do you want to go about this? What should we get
Let's
into?
talk about Malik and Anaya and then what it's like to meet other characters that we can play.
Let's just get into it about Malik first. I feel
Yeah,
like, and then we can move past Malik, because
yeah.
Malik, I don't
He's
know
a
about
lot.
Malik. I did not get all the way through his storyline, I will say. Because I only had so much time to play this game. I've put in maybe 6 or 8 hours so far, and I got all the way through Anaya, at least for volume 1, but I did not get all the way through any of the other 3, but I did play multiple scenes in all of the other 3.
Okay, that makes sense.
I feel like you
I
did a
almost
lot.
finished the game. I wanted to finish Isabel last night, but then I got tired, so I didn't. But yeah, we're almost done. So I played through Malik, Anaya, and Amhari.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm so excited to hear about this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad I met. Okay, I'm glad we're starting with Malik because, if for folks like listening, we did like an initial playthrough on Claire's Twitch channel, and I feel like on Twitch we both immediately were like, after reading their descriptions, we were both immediately like, so we're gonna go with a nut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like he's had like his description just gave off like a very abrasive or annoying energy and like an insully energy, and we were just like,
Yeah.
but or actually I can use a specific word, hotepi energy for those who know, and we were just like, but
Which he also like self-describes as trying not to come off as too hoteppy.
yeah,
And I'm like, sir, if you know.
yeah, then if you know, like you can do better.
At least he's trying. At least he's
Yeah.
trying.
But then, like, I remember, I know I, like, messaged you, and I was like, actually, like, I sympathize with Malik, and I've been dying to say I spoke too soon. Like, the longer we went on, I was just like, no, he's kind of a fob.
Actually, yeah. Yeah. So Malik's journey, we meet Malik. He admits he's going to like You also can't convince me that this doesn't take place in the city of Chicago. I know that they say Jersey City. I know that they made up a fictionalized city, but if you are a Chicagoan, you will see a lot of I think this is kind of a love letter to cities in general, but I think
Yeah.
like knowing that it's a Chicago studio, knowing these things, I'm like this is a little bit of a love letter to like Chicago, I think.
I also think
Yeah,
like
there's like a beauty bar equivalent of like a salon that gets turned into like an arts venue in the evenings. We see Malik there doing his rapping, though he never makes it to the stage because he's too busy trying to hit on the person who runs it. We see Naya there also falling for Yolanda, who's running the salon. I do love that we re-see these places through different people's eyes. It's like I feel like the writing is so good that I'm so desperate to know more and more about how these people are going to end up
yeah.
that I'm like, "Wait, but are they going to be okay? Like what's going on?" Like to be honest, I care a little bit less about Malik, and if he's
Mm.
going to be okay, he'll figure it out or not.
Yeah, I'm just like, I mean, like, having seen the end of his line, he does figure it out, but the way he figures it out, I'm not impressed by his growth. I think, interestingly enough, Malik might be the person who shows the most growth as he pops up in other people's stories, not necessarily in his own. So I thought
Oh.
that I liked him more outside of the context of his own story.
When we're in Malik's head, it's bad. When you don't know that he's like having these thoughts,
Literally,
it's better.
quite
Is that what
literally.
I'm hearing?
Um, yeah, for those listening, so Malik is, I feel a lot for him. Malik is a um, second generation, so his dad, I believe, both parents or just his dad.
I think both
Yes, they
parents
are.
are
Okay,
from
yes, that's
Ghana.
correct. Both parents are from Ghana, and he struggles a lot with the choices they made in terms of assimilation, especially his dad, and kind of internalizes like a lot of tension and resentment for like, oh, like, my dad changed his last name so that it was easier to be here, and he chose these jobs, and was still so critical of me, so critical of my mom. It sounded like there's like maybe some like verbal um, abuse, or just really tough emotional upbringing for Malik, and as a result he um, is just like he's not very confident, and has really complicated feelings about fatherhood that kind of get passed on to his children, while also pursuing like his dream of being a rapper, a producer, a musician, which are these are all jobs labels that his father has ingrained a lot of um, disappointment, and like has ingrained in Malik that these are not important things to pursue, like get a real job.
Yeah, they wanted him to be a doctor. He ended up dropping out of college instead, is now working at the Popeyes, trying to become a Bound Cloud and Bic Bach rapper.
And what's so beautiful or interesting about that, it maybe says a lot about Malik, is that despite him knowing how important it is to pop off on SoundCloud and Big Blog, he hands out physical copies of his mixtapes still. So every time he meets a new character, some of these copies, people he wants to flirt with, mind you, he'll hand them a copy of his mixtape with his number on the back. Um, and that's how they get to know him. And um, I think it's really beautiful how the people who he hands the mixtapes to, like their reaction are so important. I just think like that is so real to being an artist. It's just like, here's me, here's me on the page, here's me like in the booth, here's this part of me that gets crystallized in like this medium. How are you going to handle this with care? especially when like growing up with a parent who could not handle like those talents or that interest with care. Um, and so I think like that sort of dynamic changed too with Malik as he met more people, just because it became a little less like you have to respond. I need you to like, it's like I need you to engage with my music because this is something I take seriously, but it's not, I'm not gonna base my entire like self worth on like how you're going to respond to this. It becomes like less emphasized as he meets more people, which I thought was interesting, at least to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this game, for compared to many dating sims, I feel like that people pick up for whatever the kitsch or whatever the shtick is. Uh, this game is about the complex nature of humanity and like emotions that people experience, and so like because it forces you to be inside of each of these people's minds. And as much as I'm like, I don't really want to be inside Malik's mind, I don't really need to hear him being like, I'm trying to tone down the misogyny. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm glad you're trying to tone it down. But you really get a look inside of these people's heads. And like for me, like just to put it out there, I am a basically translucent white woman from Wisconsin. Like my lived experience is that, right? And like it's so they're very, very straightforward about like when we meet these people, we see like an astrological sign, we see an age, but we also see like nationality, ethnicity, backgrounds. We get to know more about them. We see their pronouns. We get to see these journeys that they go on. And like it really is, the
Mm-hmm.
emphasis is on like the humanness in each of these characters. And it's not just like it's not the kind of dating sim where you're really like, who am I gonna romance? Like who am I picking? It's like
Yeah.
you are going to experience life as, at first as these four and eventually as all 12 or 13 or eventually all of these characters. And
Mm-hmm.
and it like really gets you excited for that. Like as we meet people, I'm like, oh, I do want to know more about that, or oh, I do want to know what's going on in her head. I'm thinking a lot about Ashley, the professional gamer
I
girl.
love Ashley.
I love Ashley. She has awesome pink hair. We meet her. She like clearly is dealing with some hate online. I have so many more questions about what her life is like. I already have decided who I ship her with out of the 13. I'm sure you can guess who it is.
Actually, I don't know, but I have a suspicion. No, I'm not gonna say. We'll just get there.
You gotta say.
Well, I mean, is it Keaton? But I feel like no.
It's
But
Keaton. It's Keaton.
no way. Okay. I
Why?
just feel like it's too neat. Like, oh, let's just put the
Put the
stream.
gamers
Yeah,
together.
like
Yeah,
no, they need
that's
challenge.
fair.
But I
They
see
do
it.
need
They're like the
challenge, but
natural. I think we will see
yeah.
them together. Anyway,
I love Keaton.
I love
We'll get
Keaton.
into Keaton
Okay.
in a moment, but we'll get into Keaton when we talk about Anaya. Is there anything else that we should talk about with Malik? I think like Malik was, for me, the most challenging of the characters to understand.
I think I was just
Like I can empathize, but I'm also was like,
yeah.
it took me a minute to be like, okay, sure.
I think like for me, it was very complicated. Just because it was like are spoilers
As
okay? I don't know.
I think as this podcast goes on, I think we'll try not to spoil like
Mm.
we won't do a rundown of like every single ending or
Yeah.
anything, but I do think it's safe to say, and I can make a note of this too in like show notes and stuff, but I think it's safe to say that Date With Us is the kind of podcast where we're going to talk about the game
Yeah.
as a whole, which I think sometimes will mean because of the way that dating sims work and the way that branching works, I think we're going to end up spoiling. So
Okay.
I will say before we dive too deep into it, if you don't want to be spoiled for things that happen in volume 1 of ValiDate, absolutely go play it and then come back and listen to this episode.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, now that we've said that, yeah, I felt very complicated because by the end, there's just a lot going on with Malik. Like he kind of was written to like embody like this. I feel like common trope of like, oh, there's a very, very what is the word? Homophobic? I forgot the word homophobic. I live in the utopia liberals want. Like,
I was like, what a beautiful thing to have happen.
it's just like, what? What do you call that? What does it mean?
I was wondering about this because I didn't get that far in Malik's storyline, but I had seen some of the, like, stills on the Steam page, and in his first scene or first 2 scenes, I'm not sure about, as far as I got, he seemed like he was exclusively interested in women, and but I knew that I had seen on the Steam page, you see an image of Malik kissing someone who appears to be Mask,
Mhm.
and so I was like, "What's happening with Malik?"
Yeah.
So please
Yeah.
tell me about this
Oh my
experience.
gosh. Okay, so Malik flops with Yolanda. And what we notice on stream is that Malik has this thing where he like counts points in conversations. It's so obnoxious. But he's like, oh, okay, like she was into like this line I gave her. That's a point for me. Or oh, she stopped me there. That's a point for her. Like it's just so
And it comes up as a literal scoreboard on screen, which is, like,
it's crazy.
great. It's a great game mechanic,
Yeah.
and it's devastating for Malik as a
It's just like
character.
this is who you are.
Yep.
Luckily, it's interesting as he continues to go on dates. Malik, he's not necessarily like very homophobic, but he's just like like typical
Trying to
cis
tone down the
man,
misogyny.
right? He's starting from a place of animosity towards women and femininity, which is something, and he I forget exactly how it happens. I think the second person he meets is someone in CVS. I believe it's a trans mask character um, named Anoki. I forgot this character's name. He whatever. He meets a guy who's like very clearly and very obviously flirting with him. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm not too turned off by someone.
I'm not mad at
Yeah, like
it.
okay, shoot your shot. Maybe you'll go in. And so I think this like creates a spark of curiosity. Eventually, as he sees that character the next day at Popeyes, and based on one of the choices you can make, you could end up kissing that character. You could.
Ooh.
It's like crazy. And so I think that really kickstarts Malik's internal journey of like, okay, let me become more, let me get comfortable with the idea that my sexuality is not like this very firm heterosexual thing. Like it could be a lot of things. And like all of the scorekeeping and this and that I've been doing has been to impress men. And it's really because I value the love, attention, and care of men. And that's what I want. That's who I want to be with. I think it's the big story. That is a really neat arc. Like, I don't know. I felt like it was too neat. And it was like, kind of like a fantasy version of how we want to connect with each other intercommunally. Like what if everyone just was okay with like their weird feelings, when it's like a lot of these people just don't have those weird feelings, or I mean if they do, they cling more firmly to other things like the church, or um and it gets a bit snarled. And so I think, I mean, Malik is a character that was written. So I think it's okay for him to have a clean story. And I think it was very beautiful. I think the progression, um, because you kind of see in the characters that he meets and finds interest in, like it goes for like, oh, is this a little bit too much femininity for me in their presentation? Is this a little bit more of like what I'm attracted to in men? Like you kind of see him like pinging between like what's attractive to him, but like who um and what makes him feel comfortable. But and I thought that was interesting. Like once he like goes on the journey is very interesting and nice. But the kind of the originating or like the trigger event for that journey or for that realization for him, it just felt like this is very fantastical. And to have that all wrapped up in like a character who's also at the same time struggling a lot with resentment toward the baby mother he was in love with beforehand, and raising his children, and just repeatedly being like, I don't want to be a father. I don't like being a father. Um, Kind of treating one child differently than the other one because he does not like that baby mom. It's just really dark.
Well, and he tells someone in, like, the first scene, he's like, "Yeah, well, I think that first woman, the condom didn't break. I think she did something shady
Right.
to get herself pregnant," to someone he had just met, which is
To a
like,
woman
these
he just
characters
met.
are messy. Yes, to a woman he just met, who he is trying to sleep
Right.
with. Who he is trying to sleep with. He has a lot going on. And like
Yeah.
every one of these characters, like using Malik as the example, like we're not going to go through all four of these characters for you guys in deep detail. We want you to go and play this game. And honestly, maybe it's best that we do Malik, since I think based on the audience that I suspect this game will have or our podcast will have, Malik is probably the one that people will drag their feet on a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But it's worth playing because it's just like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so rich. Like the level of detail like you get from stills and a few like character poses, like you wouldn't think like, oh, I'm able to like dig in, but literally there's so much to interpret there just from like the things that they're saying. Like the writing is very immaculate. And I think it's very potent that Malik, the character, Malik, the storyline, is so complex and messy because I mean, it puts you in that position of having to humanize other people in the way that I think the writers and the game developers maybe wanted themselves to be humanized. Or anyone would. Yeah, it was a good chance to practice that empathy and to think more lovingly about the people that I know in my life. Yeah.
I don't know if these are the right words, but this game sort of forces a generous read on you. When you live in people's heads the way that we do in these games, in this game,
Yeah.
as we switch between people and as we learn more about them, like it really is that thing of like, there's a lot more going on in there. The same way there, what is it? Is it solipsism? What's the word? That's not right. What's the word that is the feeling? There's like some word that is the feeling when you walk down the street and then you realize that every other person on the street is also living a rich and complicated, huge life that like just like you, but in a wildly different way. There's a word for this feeling, and I feel like, and the
Mm.
word that I can't remember, but the new word that we're making up is this game. ValiDate is this feeling. ValiDate is experiencing life and the richness of how many different things can
Yeah.
happen. And also, you do get the power, like shifting us a little bit into um,
Oh, it is
Son-
Sonder. I thought Sonder was something else. I was like, is it Sonder? But then I was like, no, Sonder's something else. But it is
okay,
Sonder.
yes, I feel like ValiDate gives that feeling, gives that Saundress feeling, gives the feeling of Sonder. And like, and it like there are moments where you're mad at these characters, but there's also moments, at least for me, where I was like, I'm mad at you for feeling this way, but I have also fully felt this way. Like, especially shifting us a little bit from Malik and more into Anaya, like
Yeah.
Anaya struggles with being really online and like feeling like you have to feel a specific way, or you have to be able to articulate things in a certain way, or you have to be able to act a certain way to be able to like participate in online discourse, or to be able to like be doing the right things at all times, or hiding in her house for too long, or like getting upset with the way that she looks on camera, and like all of these things that are super relatable. And then I'm like reading them thinking horrible things about themselves, and I'm like, well, don't think that. And then I'm like, well, damn, Claire, you have also thought just like that. Like, and it's really gratifying to be like, I'm not alone. Like, if a character in a game has been given so much love and care and attention and writing, and like it's clear that the writers care about these stories and these people, and I'm like, well, damn, I feel kind of seen in this moment. And also, like, there are ways to make that really messy, because there are definitely some choices that, like, if you make certain choices, you are about to make the messy, option happen, and then there are others that you can really make the right choice for yourself, and it really, the struggling singles in your area really comes out in those choice moments.
Yeah.
Where it's like, am I gonna take half the gummy, or am I gonna take the whole gummy and ruin the night because I get too paranoid and anxious?
Woo-wee. Guess which one
Guess
I
which
chose.
one we had to. Oh, game mechanic wise, you can rewind. So I did love that because Kanisha and I both did the full gummy and then rewound to get the half a gummy ending because we were sad after the full gummy one.
The full gummy, that was like the most devastating bad choice. I don't know. It literally hit my body. I was like, oh, no. Yeah. But yeah, no, these characters, they're Anaya especially is just so chaotic.
Yeah, Anaya is an Instagram chef, as we said. Anaya's storyline follows the journey of being too online, of figuring out how to care for yourself while also being sort of in a hyper niche public eye space, and dealing and like looking at oneself in a less hyper self-critical lens. Like we see Anaya run into a college friend who is a editor at BQ magazine and gets like roped into a photo spread, which at one point, I do love the self-awareness in ValiDate. I took a screenshot of this so that I would remember, because we see Anaya talking to her best friend slash like moderator for her channel, Alex, who is like, is it really possible for a magazine editor to just bring someone in off the street for a fashion spread? And Anaya answers, I guess, but this is a video game, so why worry about it?
We love a fourth wall break.
Like in a text message, Anaya sends that, and it's like, okay, all right. I like a little cheeky, like, yeah, we know, but it's fun. Let it be fun. Like, I do love a let it be fun in a dating sim. Because it's like, yeah, we made a dating sim. Let it be a good time. Like, let her go and get her hair and makeup done. And like, tell me about how her dirty ass hair is better when it's styled because it's dirty. Like, I love that.
Oh,
that is so actually real, but
yeah.
Still.
Yeah, I think something, that we touched on is like, I mean, it happens to all the characters, but I think like best illustrated, well, best is a strong word, but well illustrated with Anaya is just like how much the other people that she's meeting and dating are changing her. Because I think she has the most obvious choices where like from start to finish, like, oh, this is a choice that Anaya would not have made one date ago, which in game time could be like weeks or months or whatever. But this is like, this is a significant shift into how we get to where we need to be at the end. And I found that very moving. Like, I have felt so transformed sometimes by the interactions I have with like my friends or people that I've met, and so I feel like they captured that experience of like being willing and open to change through like having a community of people who care and are invested and are willing to struggle with trust you to who are willing to like be there for the moments where you are just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And like trust that you're going to grow beyond where you were, and forgive you and be patient with you and, do better for them. So I really appreciated Anaya's storyline, and that it illustrates how important it is to honor those people who are choosing to be there for you, by like making some investment in yourself, and what's important to you. And yeah, so I don't know. I feel emotional about Anaya. Like that's so
I also feel emotional about Anaya. Anaya's best friend Alex is so. I love Alex. I think like Alex is the best. Also, like I felt a kindred spirit with Alex in the sense that sometimes he's like very straight up with her where he's like, you said you weren't going to do this and now you're doing this. Like, what is going on? And Anaya can get really like defensive or shut down or like not respond to things. And I, as a person who can be really direct and can be really intense sometimes, like I have had to be the friend who's like, okay, wait, I need to realize that like the energy I'm putting out there is not the current vibe. And like we see Alex and Anaya's friendship have a shift too when she's like clearly having a really hard time and he's worried about her. And like I'm not gonna like spoil that whole thing because I think it's really beautiful, but like there is a moment in their friendship where Alex is like, to be clear, I care about you a lot and like will be there for you while I'm telling you, like, yeah, don't read the comments. Like, also, if you read the comments and you're upset, please tell me because I love you and care about you. Like, and I was like, God, like that just felt so
Yeah.
real and relatable. Of like, yeah, I'm gonna hold you to the shit you said, but also I love you. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm gonna hold you to it, but if you fail, I'm not gonna kick you out of my life. Like, you matter to me. And seeing the different ways that people can have that is so cool. I wanna talk instead of going through more storylines because I feel like I want people to play this game. I wanna know who your favorite character is. I want to talk about my favorite character. And by favorite character, I should say, who are you most excited to see in the romance sphere? Who are you most excited? If it wasn't one of these four, are you really excited to play as someone? Are you really excited to get to know certain people more? Obviously, I'm obsessed with Keaton. Keaton is like a shitty alt goth guy with long hair and like a half up, half down bun. He's got the eyeliner, he's got like the dark clothes, but he's also like clearly a mess and doesn't quite he's like learning about empathy. I'm excited to see what Keaton's like journey is.
He's also learning how to take care of himself.
Yes, yes. His house is a mess. Doesn't have a kitchen table, but has like designer clothes. But like the designer clothes that are like, you know, Boupreme or whatever stuff. And like and we meet him through we see him at first through the lens of his divorcee mother who like meets someone at a bar. And then we meet him again later because he makes a video on one of Anaya's videos that she assumes is him being shitty. And he thought it was him being funny, which if that isn't most of the internet is that miscommunication. And they end up spending some time together and doing like a collab video and some other things. And I'm like, I want to know what Keaton's journey is going to be so badly because I'm like, is he going to grow? How is he going to grow? Like, I want to see the little alt boy journey.
I want to see that so bad. I know we said we are going to talk about more of the characters, but I mean,
we can.
Well, I just feel like all I'm going to say is that I like Anaya and Keaton's like little story because I definitely have Anaya's brand of anxiety where I'm like, or insecurity about my appearance. I'm like, this person's attracted to me. Why? Like, what's wrong with them? And what's wrong with me that, like, they're misreading whatever it is about me and thinking that they like it? Or, like, just that, like, disbelief. And I liked seeing that challenge. Because it's just like, it doesn't fucking matter why someone likes you, really. Or, I mean, it does. Yeah. It does. As a person of color, as moving through the world, it does. Yeah. But it's like, you don't have to beat yourself up about it. Sometimes people like you for the wrong reason. That's on them, not you.
Yeah. Well, we get that with Amhari, too, with Anaya. Where Amhari in the bar, when they meet, is like all about Anaya. And Anaya's like, are you sure? And Amhari's like, yeah, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait.
Yeah. They're being so weird. It's, what's really great, you guys, you have to play this game, is that you leave that Anaya storyline, like, what the fuck happened? Like, it's not, like, fully resolved, but then you get to play through the same exact meaning through Amhari's line. And that was, like, really, I was just like, oh, this paints a fuller picture. It's still fucking Amhari. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. Amhari is a mess. Amhari is a
The
mess.
hottest mess. Which I didn't
He is hot.
but
And
so
he's
hot.
going through it. But yeah, for Anaya, that was probably a bad moment in time. But
isn't that just a way though? Like the person who seems most together, like sometimes is just the hottest, most messiest mess.
well, did our choices matter? I think character development wise, every single character is this game is designed to tell the stories of all of these people changing and growing. So I would say there's character development in literally every scene in one way or another, whether that is like forward growth good or oh no, a choice that I made actually leans on some of the more like negative patterns that I have in my life that I've now made this choice and it's like clearly I beefed it or whatever. So I think there's absolutely character development in this game that I honestly wasn't expecting. I was expecting it to be a little bit flatter than it was, and then I was like, "Oh my god, we're like getting into the psyche here."
But in terms of choices, I feel like the dates are pretty linear. So it's like you kind of meet each new person at a particular stage in your development. So the choices are more about like how you're developing and how you advance rather than like who you're getting close with. Those are kind of like set.
Yes. Yeah, it's not a traditional dating sim in the sense that you are one person and you look at a group of people and you say, that's the one I want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not Monster Prom. Not that Monster Prom is a traditional dating sim. This is not Monster Prom where you have to ask someone out at the end of it and they will say yes or no. This is definitely the visual novel, heavy on the visual novel part of getting through these things, which is also kind of why I'm glad they added the mini games and stuff so that it's like,
yeah.
As for a $15 game, I'm like, this is absolutely worth $15. Like there's a lot happening. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Like there's so much there's so much humanity in it. Like there's so much across the breadth of the way that people think that I think it's so cool that they had a writing team because it really does feel like we're getting so many different perspectives so closely. But yeah, your choices, they matter, but also not in the not necessarily in the one-to-one dating someone.
What do we normally talk about after choices matter?
Do our choices matter? Success, what is it? Did we have fun?
Oh, success. What is it? Well, you get the. There are. I don't know what CG stands for, but there are stills at the end of each route, and like for a good ending, you get the good ending still, the bad ending still, and if there's a rare ending, the rare ending still. So success is very obvious because you get the good ending still and you get some achievements, and then when you go to your phone, which is the waiting screen between dates, you are able to go in the next state. Whereas if you get a bad or rare ending, you usually have to repeat the date to get through to the next one. Um, and something to note about that is once you've played through and finished like a date or just a scene with one person all the way through, if you replay it, you then get access to the other endings. So you would be able to skip ahead, which is something I learned.
Oh, I love it when that is I love when a game has the option like for a branching game like that to force me. I like that I can replay through if I want to, but to be able to be like, no, I want to start here or I want to get here and go from there is
Yeah,
huge.
it helped a lot because when I was playing this through, I was like, I'm 100%ing it. I'm gonna get every
Oh yeah.
ending, and I
Completionist
just
babe.
the compulsion came out, and that helped because then I could like, if I got stuck or I was like, I cannot just figure out like the combination of choices I need to make to get this ending. I could just like peek at what it was and then go back. But I only had to do that. I think I did it. The other blah, blah, blah. I only had to do that once, and I think it was for Amhari. There was just one ending that I could not figure out for the life of me. But the other ones, yeah, I did just like.
After we stop recording, I'm gonna make you tell me
Oh
all
my
the
gosh, I
endings.
will. Yeah, they were very fun. I'll just pull the game out, girl. Don't play. But yeah. And then so that's what success looks like. And Claire.
I had fun. Did we have fun? I
I had
had fun.
so much fun.
I had fun.
I would stay up like I was trying to log into Steam to see how many hours I spent in the game because I would stay up like after work, just like through the night, grinding through these characters. Like it was really fun.
Yeah, we can get into ratings now, but I think it's a good game. Dare I say it's a special game.
Very special.
I had this one on my list for a long time, and I was honestly like a little bit afraid to play it because I was afraid it was going to let me down. And it did not. It was great.
It's so good.
It was great, and like I just keep coming back to like it's so human. Like it's such a human, like struggling singles in your area, and the breadth of what that means is like, yeah, it's a really great game for when you're ready for some empathy in your life. Like when you're ready to think about all the different ways and all the different things that people could think or go through, like it obviously is not the end all be all of everyone's lived experience, but it is a great window into a bunch of different people's messy little lives and like what joy and what like sexiness and what types of things we can find in that in our own ways and what that means. And I was like, okay, like and it's like nice. I think sometimes I get in my own bubble a little bit, and it's nice to play a game that's like some of these people you're going to relate to immediately and you're going to love, and others of these people you're going to not love immediately, but you will grow to understand better or like at the very least care about what happens to them.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's great. It's great writing. So the way that we rate, we have 3 different types of ratings that we do. We do our spice and steaminess rating, we do our romance rating, and then we just do our individual ratings between the two of us. We rate out of 10. You know, it's very much on our own personal opinions, so know that we think you should play the game and tell us what you think about it.
Yes. Tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah, tell us if we're wrong. Spice, steaminess. There was some sexy moments.
Yeah.
There was like I feel like more anticipation than like in the moment, like sultry or sexiness in the moment. But I liked that. Like I think it really captured the feeling of like, is this attraction something that's going to lead to something, or is this attraction something that is ephemeral? And I thought that they kind of captured that vibe really well.
Well, and I think too, like something that I reflect on a lot, and other people say it's not a novel thought, but it's just like the things that you are attracted to are things that you want or feel are missing from yourself. And so I think these moments of intimacy and how they come to be, I think really speak to that. Like, and like this is like we're pursuing this, because like, oh, I am very anxious. I want to confirm like their attraction to me, or I feel like this is missing or that's missing. Like as these characters grow and you can kind of see where they feel their lack is and how others perceive their lack to be, you see how they try to fill it. And I think the sex scenes that we see come in at those moments and illustrate that for us.
You are so smart. You're that's such a great way to
well,
cosign.
Thank you. Okay, but is it sexy? No.
But is it sexy? But is it steamy? Is it spicy?
I did see one illustration that I was like, oh. So that's all I'll say. But I think if I were to put a number on it, maybe it's like a 5.
I was sitting 5-6 as well. I was sort of like, I think I will give it a 6 only because there is enough. I love the tension. I love the chase. So I'm gonna bump it up 1 for the anticipation factor in some of the things we've seen.
Yeah. I was gonna say that the drawings that we get that I've seen, there's like one in particular I was like, ooh. But a few of the others, they're not the most suggestive. They're very beautiful, but it's not like We're
Yes.
seeing, you know, body parts.
Yeah, maybe it is a
Yeah.
5. Maybe it's a 5 for Steam, but
Romance,
romance.
I don't know. Romance with yourself considered, I would give this dang near like an 8, 9, 10. Like it's up there.
Yeah, this is a realistically romantic game.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is not like sweeping. Why is Beauty and the Beast what I thought of? This is not sweeping Beauty and the Beast romance. I don't know why that's romantic. Here we are, don't listen to me. Actually don't quote me on that, but this is not like sweeping romance. This is like the little things in life that are romantic, which also like I also feel like this game, like in the romance category too, like is the phrase platonic romance, that's sort of like against, I
Mm-hmm.
think syntactically not sound, but
Mm-hmm.
like the way that these people move through the world and the way that they care and love each other, whether it is romantic or platonic, is so visible.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah. Who is it? Is it Bell Hooks all about love? Where she's like, love is a verb. Like it's a choice you make, it's an action, and you have to like choose it for yourself and choose it for other people and to move in a loving way. And I think like you see characters and the choices that you make for them, you like see what it means to do that. Um,
Yeah.
and how it transforms you to do that. So is there a lot of love in this game? Is it romantic? I would say like yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think in that way it's not oxymoronic to be like platonic love. Like it's really there.
Yeah.
There can be a lot of romance in the way that you care for and choose to love your friends. Yeah.
Yeah, romanticizing life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I think 7 or 8. I think I hesitate to give a 9 or 10 just because for a dating sim like recap and review podcast, it's
Yeah.
not heavy on the
We're
the
gonna be
deep
together.
romantic
Yeah.
love. But it is heavy on romanticizing in I think deliberately in what is trying to be a healthy way to romanticize your life and your relationships.
Yeah.
I think 7, 8, maybe 8, 8 out of 10 romance.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it an 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It felt very real. Whatever that means.
The writing is good. Like I don't know how many different ways I can be like this game is well written, but it is. Uh well, last but not least individual ratings.
I would say, hmm, reflect, reflect, reflect. I think overall I would give it an 8. And dating sim worlds, I just feel like it I would recommend anyone to play this and to like just have it in their repertoire of like what a dating sim could be, the different little mechanics and features that it can involve, and the depth of storytelling. And the kinds of characters you see get to experience and choose love and choose each other. Different kinds, seeing different types of people than we are normally convinced we need to see together, be together. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend it to most and all very positively. So I feel like an 8 captures that.
Yeah. I too would recommend this game to pretty much anyone who's curious about what a visual novel is like also. Cuz it has those sort of like it maintains engaging features while you're also still just like, reading and moving through, but the art is so great and it really keeps you engaged. I think this is like I don't feel good about this, but I'm going to contextualize it. I think I'm going to give it a 7.
That's fine.
Now, the reason I'm giving it a 7 is almost exclusively because I anticipate when the rest of the game releases, I'm going to give this an 8 or a 9. I think I am just like at this point where I'm like hungry to know the rest of these people's stories, which should like be enough to be like, yeah, this is a good game and I recommend it to people. I clearly wanted to come back to it. I wanted to keep engaging with it. I'm just impatient. And I think the 4 characters that we got I enjoyed playing as, but I want to see more. And so I'm like sitting at a 7 only because I'm like, okay, my one like note as far as gameplay that I think could have bumped it up is I wish they would have forced me to play a mini game. Like if I hadn't gone looking in my phone, like I wouldn't even know those were there if I was just like not a curious player in that sense.
The fishing game for sure. The Malik mini game, I think you have to play at least one level and get a certain score to like get to a certain point in the story. So there is
that makes me feel better. That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I was worried all the mini games were like hidden in the phone and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, no, that would have made me sad. No, I definitely got like some kind of nudge or notification. Because that was the only way that I knew about it, where it was like, oh, Malik's doing this activity and you need to like do this. And I was like, wait, what? And so, and then like blah, 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 and the phone unlocked. And then I went to the phone and I was like, oh, okay. And then once I like got a certain score, then I saw that. Like,
that does help. Well, in that case, then maybe I should just give it the 8 I anticipate giving it 2 volumes from now.
You don't have to.
For dear viewers, Claire's rating for ValiDate is a 7.5. This is like basically our pilot. This is basically our episode 1, and I'm already splitting the by 10 by half.
There you go.
I'm between a 7 and an 8. It depends on when you catch me talking about this game, I think is probably the reality of the situation, but it's great. It is a romantic visual novel. Promises delivered, you know? I think it is exactly what it says it is, and more.
Before we go, I'm going to answer your question because I didn't answer a question previously, which is who do you want to see more about? I want to see more about Yolanda because Yolanda shows up in everyone's story and she's fixing these people. Literally, they're putting this black woman to work, and it hurt me a little bit. I was like, we see Yolanda is getting hurt. She's crying. This and that and the other is happening. She's literally hosting interventions for folks, and we don't see her like actually be in love. And
we need more Yolanda. We need more Yolanda focus. Like it did give magical black woman a little bit, and I'm like, I'm glad that I know we're gonna get her perspective because I'm also curious how Yolanda actually feels about all of this happening because she seems extremely well adjusted.
Right.
And I'm like, too well adjusted, where I'm like, what's going on in her mind? Like, what's actually going on in her mind? And she might be the best character.
I just had to say it. Yeah, I think so. She's so
her little hat makes faces.
She has such an interesting little background. Yeah, she wears a little fish hat that's like it is so cute, and it emotes as she emotes with her little poses. And she's just so interesting. She's a poet. She has like a 60-gallon fish tank in her house. And she's also a hairdresser. Like, she's like fascinating. So we love Yolanda and we need justice for Yolanda. If this freaking game doesn't end with like a grand, huge wedding spectacle for Yolanda, just like something massive. I want, if any character gets the big traditional love story, it needs to be Yolanda.
It should be Yolanda, and it should be someone like unexpected, I feel like, because this poor woman is always getting hit on at her art nights, and I'm like, poor Yolanda.
She can't just live.
You can't
literally.
You can't be sustained by lost artists alone.
Right. So yeah, justice for Yolanda. That's what I'm leaving us at. But
any parting thoughts? Should we have like a final segment? I don't really know what that would be, but
let's see. Final thoughts. I guess we could do like takeaways, like
lessons learned. Did we learn anything?
Second date ideas, or I don't know what we would call it. What's something cheeky that makes you want to see a person again?
The thing we left behind.
Oh.
You know, when you just like
that.
leave. I'm crazy, but you know that thing where it's like, oh no, I left this, or oh no, you left this, and I definitely didn't move it so that you wouldn't know where it was.
I know exactly what you're talking about, girl. I've seen the Mindy Project like 16 times. It's like literally, it's when Mindy leaves her diamond earrings underneath Danny's bed. Like, She's so crazy. Anyway, so loca.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Where the hell have you been? What's the thing we're taking away versus leaving behind? What are we leaving with you, dear listener, from ValiDate? What are we leaving behind? I'm leaving with you just loving your friends as best you can. And not being afraid of that or what that means. Like, I was reading something or other. It was, now I don't remember who the quote was from, but it was like something along the lines of friendship is an imposition and that we are sometimes too polite to a detriment. And I feel like that's sort of the be in your friends' lives, messy, unmessy, or otherwise. That's what I'm leaving behind under your bed to remember me by.
Yes.
To remember ValiDate by.
Okay. In your car's cup holder, I'm going to leave forgiveness and acceptance. But I guess that's what validation is for a lot of us. It's just forgiving ourselves for who we are and accepting who we are and accepting other people and the ways that they love us based on who they are and what they can do in that moment. So that's what I'll leave us with, or that's what I'll leave in your car. Forgiveness and acceptance.
Yay!
Yay! We finished an episode.
Thank you so much. Bye!
Bye!
Date With Us is produced and co-hosted by Claire and Phoenicia.
Claire does the editing, and the intro music Glimmer was composed for the show by Jason Duran.
Find us on Instagram and Blue Sky as Date With Us Podcast.
And don't forget to share, rate, or review the show.
Tell your crush about us.
We dare you!